There is a blessing in every suffering. As human beings, we tend to gravitate towards blessing and success, and we tend to resist suffering. But the key to remember here is that there's a hidden blessing in every suffering. Let's take the case of Joseph. His brothers dumped him in a well. Long story short, from that point on, for Joseph, it was one setback after another, one trial after another, and he becomes a victim wherever he goes, until he becomes the governor and then the king of Egypt. Now, a lot of us can resonate with the story of Joseph, but the key to remember here is that with every setback, he was only getting closer to his destination. If you observe his life carefully, you will see that every setback was preparing him for a major comeback. Now, let's take the case of a diamond. Before it can turn into a beautiful piece of jewelry, it has to go through a purification process. Or let's take the case of a flight. Before it can surge ahead, the wings have to hold the air down. Likewise, in our own lives, in order for us to surge ahead, we have to be able to overcome obstacles and challenges. Or let's take the case of a software product. While the product is still being developed, it has to go through a trial and error period, during which the software engineer tries different approaches to develop the solution. He may try one approach, and if that doesn't work, he may try another. And perhaps that may also not work. But he keeps trying until he finds a solution. And what happens is, it is during this time that he learns what works and what doesn't work. Likewise, in our own lives too, it is when we go through trials, we develop the strength of character and we build tenacity, patience, and perseverance, all of which are essential to take us where we are going, and most importantly, to sustain us when we get there. Now, there's also a psychological and physiological aspect to this. When we are faced with a difficult situation, and when we perceive the situation to be a threat, our body takes on a flight or fight approach. But we know that neither of those approaches are going to help us, because we cannot run away from the suffering. Our only option is to go through it. When we perceive the situation to be a threat, our brain starts releasing stress-related hormones and chemicals. And now our body starts responding to those chemicals by being angry, anxious, and frustrated, which will result in poor choices leading to poor behaviors and thus creating a negative outcome. On the other hand, if we perceive the situation to be an opportunity, our brain begins to sense positive vibrations, and then our body becomes more calm and relaxed, leading to positive behaviors and thus creating a positive result. So the key takeaway here is, there is a hidden blessing in every suffering, and the blessing will unfold and manifest itself in the long run. So it all boils down to our perspective, and our perspective, or the right perspective, will make the suffering easier on us. Thanks for watching. This is an excerpt from my book, It's About the Perspective. Acceptance means we accept who we are. It means we accept everything about us, the good and the bad. It means we accept everything that has happened or is happening to us in our journey of life. It means we accept our situations and circumstances and walk the path that has been laid for us with grace and dignity. If you observe closely, you will find that a lot of the issues, frustration, crime, and abuse that we see around us are due to our unwillingness to accept who we are. Our failure to accept the misfortunes and the unfortunate situations that have happened in our lives. Our unwillingness to accept the injustice that was done to us or the fact that we have been wronged. When we refuse to accept what has happened to us or fail to come to terms with it, we end up having trouble accepting ourselves or others. We end up being unhappy and not at peace with ourselves or others. The thing to remember in all of this is that we are only expected to walk the life that has been laid before us. We are only expected to live the life that has been handed down to us. We are not expected to live someone else's life or walk someone else's journey for that matter. We are only answerable to God for what He has laid for us in this journey of life. And the only expectation from us is to walk the journey of life gracefully, accepting all that life has to offer with its ups and downs. So it all boils down to how you perceive things, how you perceive yourself, and your perception of your own life. In colleges, universities, and even in offices, you find people doing all kinds of things to be accepted or to be part of a clique. When people don't value or accept who they are, they end up making the costly mistake of throwing themselves away. It is true that as human beings, we all want to be accepted and appreciated. But the key is, when we know who we are, when we stay true to ourselves and be authentic, people will see our authenticity and value us for that, and they will come to us rather than we having to chase their acceptance. So you might want to ask yourself, would you rather have people come to you for who you are, or do you want to chase people to accept you? So the key takeaway here is to accept who you are. Accept all that life has to offer with its ups and downs, difficulties, challenges, and even happiness. And walk your path gracefully, knowing that we are only expected to run our race and walk the journey that has been laid before us. Thanks for watching. This is an excerpt from my book. It's about the perspective.